Hello all and welcome back to High Ridge Farm with me, the Walrus. We are in day 17 of the beautiful winter season here in High Ridge Farm. It's been a rough couple of days in sense of trying to figure out exactly what needs doing. The challenge of trying to catch the extra fish again has popped up, and I'm trying to figure out if I've got the opportunity to actually try it. It's not always the easiest to do. We still have other things within. We need to try to get all of the, what are they called? The key fruits. We need to get more of those. After my blunder of turning them into a very expensive 4G wine, which was a very foolish mistake on my part. I've got a couple of other things I want to try and do as well. I've got a perch to try to catch, which shouldn't be super difficult, I don't think. I mean, they do bite all day, every day, during the winter season, so that shouldn't be too difficult. But it is something that needs to be done. But let's have a quick check and see. I still need more moss. That's the big problem I've got. Now, of course, I don't believe there's any way of getting it during the winter season. I'm not even sure if there's a particularly easy way of getting moss during most seasons outside of the one singular day during the summer when you've got a big abundance of them. But we will try and get what we can anyway. So let's try and go ahead. Oh, there goes that snow yam. Damn, I kind of wanted that. I want to make more of the lovely seasonal crops. Oh, so we've achieved it finally. I'm really pleased with that. So it looks like this is an event for the raccoon family nearby. And aren't they sweet? Look how fat they are. That's adorable. I love it. Little trash pandas being all chunky. That's very cute. Very sweet. I love it. I know it's a little thing, but it is a nice little achievement for when this sort of stuff happens. It's quite lovely. They look so cute. Oh, and they're moving towards each other. I mean, how many raccoon babies are we talking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 baby raccoons. And, you know, that's like a decent number, right? Again, I'm not really sure about raccoons. Again, we don't really get them in the UK. I say get them. We don't have them, sorry. It's not like they're a seasonal pest or something silly. Like, we get them. So I don't actually know what the average litter size for a raccoon actually even is. Might have to look that up. My curiosity is ever so slightly piqued. Okay. Help us and help you out with something else. So 3 magma geodes and 2 sea urchins. Well, now that we've achieved the required growth of the raccoon family, I wonder what further donations to the raccoon family will actually give us. I'm genuinely curious. Be keen to see. I mean, you never know. Could be something really good. I mean, I don't know. Right, so we're going to try and do some general fishing, as you can see here today. I mean, it's not like it's a super difficult thing to do as a whole. Just see how well it goes, I guess. I mean, we might end up with something good, we might end up with something terrible, who knows. I mean, on the fish front, it shouldn't be super difficult, I don't think. Let's see. Well, I mean, we're not getting much in the way of particularly exciting. Getting caught. Oh, come on. Get up. Get in the... Go on. Get in here. Goodness gracious. And as I've mentioned previously, I'm not exactly a fisher myself. So fishing is not something I'm super au fait with. I don't really know much about it as a general rule of thumb. But hey, I assume that some fish are particularly lazy biters. And some are indeed much harder to catch. We'll see. Right. I mean, it's only 12:40. We've still got plenty of time to try to get them by the end of the day, because today is, I believe, the last day of the requirement of the challenge from Demetrius. And as was quite rightly pointed out, I joke about how it seems environmental destruction does seem a little bit mean for Demetrius, and I think that's probably because I'm kind of picking faults only in just because I dislike Demetrius. So I'm very much understanding of the fact that yes, indeed, that some animals, when in large quantities, do indeed cause environmental problems because they outcompete or just are a bit of a menace. And I think these perch are indeed, that's the situation. I don't know if just catching 4 of them will really do much, but I guess on the small scale of what I can achieve, I'm assuming that maybe Demetrius has asked everyone to try to, you know, get involved and help deal with the fishy conundrum that we currently have. We're finding ourselves in, that we have too many perch. And there we go, there's one of them. What else can we catch here? I mean, I'm assuming we're going to catch a lot of the lingcod, because they are quite a common thing. And maybe tiger trout? Is that another one that we can catch during this sort of time of day? I'm not even sure. Like, time of day, sorry, time of year. I'm not even sure. I'd have to actually double check. Which, you know, I don't think is a particularly absurd thing to want to look at. While the fish are available to be caught during this lovely season of the winter. Heck, who knows? Oh, lummy daisy. There's so many fish. It's kind of frustrating. Okay, we've got ourselves some more river jelly. Now, I do think I actually need some more of the jellies as a whole, because we're going to need more of it for, I mean, other reasons. I mean, I know I need it generally for use. I'm trying to think of what other uses do we actually need it for, to be fair. I mean, I know I need it for the smoker, but I don't think I need any more smokers. I mean, I've got 5 of them, and they do kind of not get used much. And as I've mentioned previously, I'm kind of looking at what's the next goal for me. I've never tried a Stardew speedrun, and I am aware that a lot of the speedruns for Stardew is just trying to get up to a certain monetary level. And I think that might be kind of an interesting thing to do when it comes to the next set of things for me to try with the new farm layout. Because hey, I'm curious to see how well I can achieve that and how quickly I can achieve it, because the newer farm coming with a coop as standard, I've not even actually looked at what that even entails. So I am genuinely intensely curious to see what that actually provides. I mean, I don't think it's anything particularly outrageous. I can't think that it would be. So, hey, maybe that is something nice and we could give it a try. Let's see what I can get on this fish here, though. Get on the line, stay on the line. Please be a perch. Maybe I should... Oh, I'm getting pikes again. I think perhaps I should head back to the farm and make some more perch bait. The more specific. Because that way I might be able to facilitate the speed at which one catches them. I think that is a big thing for me to actually really look at, is actually maybe getting bait for all the fish. I know I've mentioned it previously as a maybe this should be done. I mean, I'm not expecting that is like something that's very easy to do. I mean, I know that there are... I mean, I'm not saying other issues, but there are other ways around sort of trying to wrangle that as a thing that we want to achieve. And yeah, kind of a given, I would have assumed, on that sort of front. But hey, we can give it a go and see. So let's see what we can actually achieve here. Anything? Well, look at that size bar difference though. Now that the breaking of the bobbers, you can actually see how much of a difference it really makes actually having those 2 cork bobbers. The fact that I'm able to add 2 of them in general is quite a big difference and a big change as a general rule of thumb. It's quite surprising how much of a difference that the double bobber makes. I may have to go back to the farm and make another pair of them and kind of go from there. I mean, I understand that they are they will degrade, because if they were permanent, they'd be a little bit over the top, but still a little bit annoying that I have to deal with that. But I will live with that. I mean, there's kind of not really much else I can say on that front, really, is there? I mean, I'm going to have to deal with it as a whole. Right. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see if I can catch these fish. Come on. The night market is now open. Okay, so maybe that should be my kind of incentive to go back to the farm and sort of try. When I'm not expecting much from being able to head back to the farm and get more. I think I will try and throw some of the perch in, because I don't have to exactly hand over the perch to Demetrius, so it's not like it's anything super difficult on that front. I mean, I don't need to give them over to him, so I can actually just use the perch that I have. But let's see what we can do. Let's make a couple of the cork bobbers. I think we should smoke a couple of fish, generally. That would probably be just a nice bit of extra money. I think the problem again is, though, I'm looking at it going, well, what do and don't I need? As I've kind of previously mentioned, I don't need money. But it is difficult for me to try to realise actually spending. Which feels a little bit over the top, but that is genuinely a thing that I have difficulty doing, is because I do have that very much hoarder personality when it comes to gathering all the items in a game and going, oh, I might need that. Which, I wonder if that is an associated thing. I don't know if there are any studies that have been conducted into that. I would genuinely be curious to see if the attitudes and personalities of different gaming approaches, which is mine, is that I like to make sure I have stacks and stacks and stacks of everything. And heck, I was even atrocious with it when I was a kid playing Pokemon, that I would just stock up on potions constantly. And not always the greatest of plans, in brutal honesty, because yes, I'd use them in battle, but there were definitely ones that I'd gather that I didn't need. I mean, heck, I didn't need 99 potions, and especially when you could only carry so many items in your bag. With the initial Red and Blue, which I think this is something that if you've never played the initial Pokemon games, you could only carry a certain number of different items because of the inherent restrictions of the game system. You couldn't handle it, which, fair enough. But it did mean that you weren't able to just stock up on absolutely everything and hundreds. I think you could only stack up a maximum of 99 of each. And that would be quite frustrating. Oh, let's grab this Lupini and see what it is. I mean, yes, I know it's a Lupini, but I don't know what it is. The Solar Kingdom. Ooh, lovely. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting sort of thing that you couldn't carry that many of, well, everything that was available to you. And it was kind of interesting to sort of really look at what else was there that you could do. It's a bit of a strange one, I will admit. But yeah. Something to really look at and kind of reflect upon, I think. Which I know might sound a little bit over the top and ridiculous, but it is something to really think about. Has there actually been a study into the way that certain gamers might approach different challenges, which are, even as a whole, inventory management? Now, let's see if I can quickly grab Demetrius before he goes to bed. I mean, I know it's only 8:10, but I say that because I have my very twisted sense of what is a sensible time of bedtime, which for me is 1:30 in the morning. And that is not a very sensible time of bed. I have colleagues in my day job who are parents, and they're saying like, oh yeah, no, we go to bed at around 10. And I feel like that's insane. Pure insanity. But I guess because I'm used to the night shift and I tend to work better in the evening, which is interesting because I know that my ADD does mean that there is that associated, not really issue with it, but I have seen associations between having neurospicy tendencies, as one does, and actually realizing that working late is not as good for you. I know my father is very much the opposite. He has definitely got a little bit of the ADD side, maybe not as much as I do, but he's very much of and he likes to be up at the crack of dawn doing things, and whereas I would like to stay in bed and just leave it in there and just stay in bed for as long as physically possible, because I am very lazy. And that's something I'm painfully aware of. I know it sounds awful to really kind of put it to somebody, but I'm very happy with a lazy afternoon. Saturdays are my sacred day of the week. I would much rather stay in bed and not do anything. Thanks. But anyway, that's how I like to view things, at least. Whether you guys are different on that one, I don't know. And also, heck, I'm kind of curious because, again, most of the neurospicy friends that I have who are either autistic or, well, more specifically, on the autism spectrum, which I think is a better way of describing it, because it isn't you can't tar everyone with the same brush if they are upon that level. And I've heard one of my friends describe it of, I have a big interest in trains, but I haven't mastered the art. Which is their own description of it, and I'm pretty sure it's from a comedian who's described it. And it's a very good descriptor, though. Not to discourage the fact that they've stated it, because it is their way of viewing their approach and view on life, and I think that's quite an interesting way of looking at it. Because you can't really understand everyone else's view in life, because heck, if you could, you would be the greatest empath known to humanity. But then, well, who knows? Right, there's me again being an idiot and forgetting how many of these darn things that I actually needed. But hey, so thank you, Bobo. What were you going to be giving? 25 powder melon seeds. Actually, that's a pretty good trade-off, considering powder melons are a bit of a commodity in some ways for me. Hey, I'm very happy for that. Let's see what we can get. Well, you know what? I think I should hoe up a bit more land, because I'd like to see if I could grow some more giant powder melons, because I'm all about those giant crops. I'm sorry, unless you've got some giant crops for me, I'm less interested. I was trying to figure out if I could come up with a clever way of sort of like, you know, my anaconda don't want none unless you've got some buns, hun. Yeah, that's about as good as you're going to get for me even attempting to sing, because as one of my, actually my manager at the day job, she finds it very funny when I do pull out the absurd, over-the-top Britishism level of, yes, indeed, these are song lyrics and this is how they go. Why, yes, how could you not tell that is my particulars and decisions of music? But anyway, the posh rapping approach. It is very silly. Now, anyway, silliness aside, let us get ourselves ready for bed. It is end of the Wednesday. I mean, there's not really much else for me to do today, I don't feel. And I think that's quite a reasonable thing to decide. And actually, going to bed at midnight as my lovely farmer seems positively insane. I'm usually trying to retire to bed and much later than that, as close to 2 a.m. as I can physically manage, usually. Which, you know, I think is understandable, considering how I want to try to play the game. But hey, well. Right, anyway, silliness aside, it is now Thursday, and we have a few more things that we need to try to do today. What those are, we will find out during the day. So, my children and their ridiculous headgear are always a fun option for me here. I can't really say much on that front, I just still find it funny. So let's go fly a kite up to the highest height and see what other things we can do today. Well, none of the crops are, none of the aging barrels are ready, which is fine. Kind of not really a given that they're not ready, but it is just how it is. We can't really do much about it. Not today, at least. So, come children, let us do things. Father's plans. Okay, Feast of the Winter Star. Who is my secret friend for this year? Caroline. Abigail's mother, the lovely green-haired lady who is a fond fan of her tea. So she could be an easy gift. I will check the full list, because we do get that nice summary given to us. And of course, dumping all the stuff in that chest earlier, as I've discovered that I actually already had some perch bait, and believe me, do I feel foolish realizing that actually I could have just not even recycled the perch and actually just gone and been done with everything, which, goodness, do I feel silly. I'll live. It's just a little annoying, I think, is probably the best way of describing my view of frustration with that situation. But oh well. Okay, so now that I've gathered myself some more of the seasonal crops, I'm wondering how many more I can make today. I mean, I'm genuinely curious. Okay, so we've got 5 more of the key fruit we can pop away there. That's fine and dandy. Still not enough of that yet. I mean, essentially I'm after more of those crocuses. And I still need more key fruit. That's the problem, unfortunately. I'm always going to need more of it. Considering the current state of how I'm going to try and do things, at least. So, let's see what we can try and do here. So, we've got a good old swath of land that needs a little bit more, not really condensing, but more work on trying to figure out where I'm going to plant everything. So, if I quickly go back over to my crafting table, I do love the fact that I don't have to worry about this. I do actually have quite a substantial stock. I don't actually need all of them, but I'm going to make 100. I think that'll be a nice selection of the Christmas doodahs. And we can make a choice on that front. What that choice may be is a very different question. I don't know. But I am going to hoe up all this land here and at least be ready. I'm trying to figure out what else I want to do. I mean, I'm going to have to... Do I want to fertilize it? No, I don't need to fertilize it. I don't need to fertilize it with anything to improve the quality of them, because regardless of when I harvest... Well, what I harvest, being that they are considered a forageable, they will be iridium quality, which is nice. That does make my life a little easier. Because, you know, I could put down the speed grow. I mean, that's an option. How good said option is a very different question. I don't really know. But all the same, we'll slap our way through all this general silliness here. Okay. Let's see if we can get anything more with this lovely iridium hoe. Well, slap another 25 we had, so we're probably going to have 6 left. Okay. Well, that's not a difficult amount of land to sort out, but, you know, still needs sorting out. Okay, so that's going to need watering. We can sort that out later. Now, what next? I mean, there's always the big question is, what do I do next? Well, we'll go visit the animals, because I do like to just sort their hutches out and their coops and such. Which reminds me, today is guinea pig hutch clean out day. The boys are being very squeaky. Unfortunately, one of them has had a little bit of a stomach complaint, and he's not feeling as great, but he is responding very well to his critical care. That's a very different thing. Critical hair, you say? No, he's responding very well to his critical care, and is feeling quite happy with being hand-fed. I think he's just enjoying the fact that he gets extra treats and extra cuddles, because he's being very affectionate, which is very sweet of him. My little baby. It is difficult having looking after a pet when they're not well, because sometimes you're just not sure whether what you're doing is it the best thing that you can do for them, and you want to make sure that they get the best because they're your babies. And I think that's really the way I look at my guinea pigs. They're my kids. I love them. They're my babies. Which I know is very, very ridiculous potentially. But anyway, let's keep on with a sensible focus of today, which is going to be sorting out the extras in the miscellaneous barn, which is this one here, the mixed barn of crop and preserve and pickling jars, as well as the kegs. So we can get quite a lot of interesting foodstuffs out of them and different values, which is, I think, perfectly fine. I mean, kind of a given in the way that we're going to sort of look at the way that we're going to improve the farm, I think is probably the nicest way of describing it. I've got lots of cunning plans, I think is probably the best way of putting it. But I do want to just keep improving the farm and its overall production, I think. So yeah, that's my current game plan for this one. No. Goodness. Have we got anything else that we can sort of do? Oh, we've got another quest on the billboard. So let's see what quest that will be. Okay, so it's an easy one. We don't really have to think about it too hard, which is always nice because thinking is kind of painful. That involves actually doing things and thinking. But we'll quickly check and deposit in here. So we've got ourselves some more of those boxes. Now, they're not anything I'm super concerned about. They're not major, I think is probably the best way of describing them. They're a thing, but I don't really care. As awful as that is, I don't really care that much. They're not, well, difficult to deal with. Probably the best way of describing it is, it's a thing. Okay, Harvey, you can have that crocus, and we've got ourselves another prize ticket, which is good. We're always going to need and want prize tickets, because with them, we can do more. Well, get more at least, I guess. I mean, I know that there's not much else that I can sort of say on that front, but, you know, the prize tickets are... I mean, they're going to give us, what, 2 fairy powder for this the next hand-in? Which is nice and all, but... I guess the fairy powder is kind of useful, sort of as a, oh, you need this now sort of thing. It is a shame that it's not that cost efficient to sort of try and use it to improve the quality of things in the aging casks, which is a bit of a shame, because it would be good if that was actually more, well, closer to actually being helpful. Which, you know, is a shame that it isn't the case, but we'll live and that will be fine. So let's see what we can get out of our lovely golden packages, because I couldn't be bothered to deal with the blue ones, because I don't really need to. And I know that sounds a little bit silly, but I don't really care what's in the mystery boxes. The golden mystery boxes I do actually care about. So we're getting some more spring crops, some potatoes, some parsnips, and other lovelies. That's nice. Oh, we've got another hat, which, again, we're getting lots of those. Which is good. Let's see how many more of those hats that we actually gather, because they're not like impossible as a ratio goes. I mean, I don't think they're like super rare. I don't actually know what their spawn chance is. I mean, that would be a level of I don't know, because I've not really looked at those sorts of things. I could probably try and find out, to be fair, but again, I don't really want to use the wiki. That is my, not really bugbear, but I'm very much trying to be wiki free. Goodness, that does make me sound awfully pretentious, doesn't it? I'm wiki free. I don't want to do it. No, I'm going to be over the top. But hey ho, that's, you know, how it goes. So yes, I have those cunning plans, at least, with that. Now, Okay, so we'll break open the other regular boxes for now, purely because we've got them. It's probably a good idea, kind of, to look at that at the moment and see what we've got. Okay, so let's teleport back to the farm and deposit all of the gubbins that we've kind of acquired. I say kind of, we have acquired. Again, not, something super complicated or difficult to deal with, but that is, what we're dealing with today. Okay, we've got another diamond from my crystallarium. The thing is, I think at this point in the game, because I am in the end game, like, there's not anything of great pressing concern. It is still very difficult to try and figure out what other things you want to do in a day. And I think that is generally a question that, like, well, what else do you want to do on the farm? What is a good idea? What's a sensible plan of action for the day? And that can be a little bit complicated sometimes, I could say. Thankfully, though, I'm still just trying to figure out if there's anything else for, like, the events of 1.6. I think I will just keep slugging away. It's like, I'll keep this farm in the background once I've completed year 4, which is where we're at. Because I'd like to do a revamp and kind of see what other things could we do. Because there's lots of other options. I think is probably the nicest way of putting it. And we say nicest. There are lots of other options in the game, and of course there's all these different mods which I failed miserably at trying to sort out and actually download previously and failed so hard at doing. Because apparently, as I've discovered, I am really bad at working out how to get a mod to work. And I think part of it really was I didn't want to have the mods that would mean that I'd be able to slaughter the animals and the animal byproducts, but which that's kind of a component of one of them. Like, it relied on that mod existing in your directory almost. And I didn't want to deal with that. It's not what I'm at, not what I'm about. So yeah, that's that at least. So we've got ourselves another tree, which I think we could probably plant down at some point. That'd be nice. I think that's kind of reasonable to just slap down a bunch of trees at the moment, because we've got lots of them, to be fair. But where else do I want to put them? That's the question. Where do I want to put the trees, and what sort of trees do I want to slap down? I think, again, kind of a reasonable question. Because there are lots of trees that we could plant, and we've got a few down on Ginger Island already, so let's find out and see what works out well and what makes sense. I think that's the question, isn't it, really? What makes sense for us to plant? Okay, so we've got some more crystal fruit, and we've got ourselves some other shinies, which is all good. Is there anything else that we need in town, though? I think that's the big question now. I don't think so, because we've already dealt with Clint today, in that we've already visited him, and we've already got ourselves the those boxes have been opened up by him. We've just got ourselves those 2 lovely thingies. What those thingies are, I've just had a brain fart. The thingamajigs, the fairy powder thing. We've already sorted that out, which is good. And I think that's just going to be a constant need, really, for us at the moment, is just what do we do with it? Okay, so we've got ourselves some more key beans. Now let's visit Ginger Island. It's been a few days since we've last on the island, so looks like all the pineapples are ready to harvest, which is fantastic news, because I'm never going to be upset about more pineapple, because I quite like pineapple myself. It's a, I wouldn't say a guilty pleasure, not in any way, shape or form, but it's a fruit that I like, but I do know that well, I say I do know, I think I am slightly allergic to pineapple as a fruit, but interestingly, not so much as juice. I can drink pineapple juice without problem, but I wonder if that's because it's pasteurized and other such, or maybe, I don't know. But when I eat pineapple, it gives me a little bit of a scratching at the back of the throat. My throat feels like it's closing up. So I do think I might actually be a little bit allergic. Not much, but just a little. Unlike one of my poor colleagues who is very much allergic to pineapple, and unfortunately he really likes the taste of it. So I do feel bad for him in that front, because that sucks. Being allergic to something you really like the taste of. Like, I can't imagine that. Anyway, that being said, I fear that I may also be a little bit allergic to capsaicin, which is driving me nuts. Only because I keep coughing lots when I... Maybe not when I eat spicy food, it's more that when I just been having a lot of coughing fun issues with that. But anyway. So we've got lots of preserves to grab. I mean, it's 8 PM now. We've got plenty of time to grab all of this gubbins, replenish the preservative goodies that we need, and then, well, we can kind of go from there, can't we? Again, we don't need the money so much, but it is just nice to have, I think is probably the best way of describing it at this point. It's I like having the money, I don't really need it, but I've got it, and that's all the same. So let's quickly sort all these pineapples into pineapple preserve. You know what, I might even have to just sort of see if I can have some. Well, one of the things that I did actually try recently is dragon fruit. Now, I don't know about anyone else there, though. It would be nice to see dragon fruit and other fruits like that in the game. That would be cool. I like the look of dragon fruit. It's a really interesting thing. But I find it so flavourless and bland. It's It's like eating a big block of just nothing. It's got a consistency like kiwi, which I feel is a little bit like pretty ripe banana. But it's just got no flavour. And I think that might be purely because I'm in the UK. And we probably don't get the decent, really good fruit because, of course, it's travelled so far to get to us. Because it is, I think, native to Southeast Asia. And colleagues who've had it, where they've been in India and in Australia and the Pacific Islands, they've said it's been absolutely fantastic. And I feel very jealous, if I'm honest, because I'd really like to try and have a dragon fruit that actually tastes of something. It's not something I wouldn't, I'd say I'd shy away from, but it's just very meh. Which is a shame. But it is a very pretty fruit. And I think that's kind of a big selling point maybe for it. Is that it is very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, how does a dragon fruit... Is it on a tree? Is it a bush? I mean, I'm just going to have a look. Goodness. Is it a bush? Is it a type of cactus? Is it a tree? What is it? Oh my goodness. It looks like it's a tree, but it's a cactus. Oh my. That is interesting. Very peculiar. Well, I'd still very much like to have some off of the tree and actually have a good one. That'd be good. But anyway, silliness generally aside, I think that's pretty much time where we're going to wrap up for today. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you have liked this video, please do like, share and subscribe because it definitely always helps. Big shout out goes to my Patreon supporters on Patreon, so thank you very much. You're absolute champions, the lot of you. I do need to start stepping up a little bit more interesting rewards for you. And once again, hopefully I will catch you all again the next time the Walrus plays Stardew Valley.